Hey, what's up guys? Matt here with Fix Anything Save Money. Today we're going to be doing a carburetor replacement and a general tune-up on this Poulan Pro 18-inch chainsaw. This is model PP4218A. You can see it's a 42cc engine. So we're going to be showing you the steps to replace the carburetor, and then we're going to be showing you the steps to replace the spark plug, along with the fuel filter and the air filter. So we'll dive right into it. And be sure to check the link. I'm going to put a link on where you can pick up a carburetor and tune-up kit that a company called HIPA makes. That's H-I-P-A. They're called HIPA. They make small engine parts and carburetors for chainsaws, lawnmowers, leaf blowers, you name it. They make a bunch of parts. So check the link in the description. I'll take you to their website, but the other links will take you right to this tune-up kit that they sell. And then I'll include links on where you can pick up all the tools we're going to be using today. Pretty much the tools we're going to be using: this 3/4 inch deep drive to remove the spark plug, and then I just have a little bent piece of a coat hanger to fish out the fuel line to replace the fuel filter. Then we have a T25 screwdriver. Then we have a little miniature screwdriver to pry off fuel lines from our carburetor. We have an 8mm socket. This is a 1/4 inch drive. Phillips head in case we need it. And then just a medium-sized flat head in case we need it. So I'll put links on where you could buy all this stuff, along with where you could buy this tune-up kit. And the tune-up kit includes the spark plug, the fuel filter, the carburetor, and the air filter, and then hoses and gaskets. So it's a great little kit. It should have everything you need to do your repair here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this big cover right here. And to do that, we're going to be using this T25 screwdriver. And there's 3 screws. There's one in here, one right in here, and then one right here. So we'll go ahead and loosen those. You don't need to fully remove them, just loosen them a bunch. And then they sit right inside of the housing, and you can just take the cover off and the bolts will stay right in it. Okay, there's the second. Then we'll do the third. Okay, so now our cover's loose. We should just be able to take it right off. Okay, take it off, slide it to the side. And you can see here, that exposes our air box, our cylinder head with our spark plug, and then all of our choke and on-off buttons. So to get to the carburetor, we're just going to remove this little cover. Then we're going to remove the air filter. And then that's going to give us access to these 2 8mm nuts. And we're going to remove those with our little tool with our flexible extension. Like I said, I'll put links on where you can buy all this stuff. Try to make it super easy on you guys. So we're just going to go ahead and loosen these. Okay, there's our 2 nuts. Set those off to the side. Now we could go ahead and we can remove 1, 2, 3 of those T25 bolts again to take off this cover. This is the actual, this is the pull start cover. So this contains the pull start as well. And those come right out. 1, 2 down here. Okay, there's our second. And then our third is right here. And this will give us access to the priming bulb. Oh, there's actually one more. There's 4. My bad. There's one right here too. Most of them only have 3. I've never actually taken this one apart. Okay, that's easier. Okay, so there's our pull start. You could clean that up if it's dirty. We'll set that off to the side for now. Okay, so now we can go ahead and there's one more bolt here to take out this air filter housing, and that's the same T25. Okay, and now we're going to have access to remove this, and we should just be left with the actual carburetor. But first we have to remove the throttle linkage, which is in a difficult spot to see. I'll point to it. It's right here, and it has a hook on the end. So what I recommend doing is pulling it up like that. Let me see if I could do it with the camera where you could see. Okay, so this is looking down on it. So you pretty much want to just lift this up, and then we'll slide this out of the way so you could see. Actually, we'll bring it over on this side. Okay, so you could see this right here. We're just going to take that and remove it. So you can see how it goes in. It's got like a hook on it that goes in and then hooks around. Okay. Sorry if that wasn't the most clear thing in the world, but you pretty much want to pull the trigger. That'll give you some slack. Okay, so now we have all this out of place. We could take off this is our choke. And to take that off, we could literally just maneuver it this way and pull straight out. Okay, so there's our choke is out. And then we could just kind of keep this cover over to the side like that. And then that's going to give us access to remove our fuel lines. So we'll take a look here. We have a fuel line right here. And then we have a fuel line right down in here that's connected to the carburetor. So that's where we're going to use our little screwdriver. We're going to pry those lines off. So we'll do that real quick. And usually, if it's a new machine, they won't be on there, but if it's an older machine, they're going to be kind of melted on there. That one came right off. And now we'll see if we could get an angle so you could see this one coming off. Or maybe we could pull it out so you could see it better. Yeah, so it's right down here. So we got that one off. Now our carburetor should come right off. And I'll put a message in the start of this. You want to drain all the gas out before you do this, so you're not leaking gas everywhere. And you could hear that's just coming from the lines, that little noise. Okay, so here's our carburetor. Our gasket is still intact, so we could reuse that. So we're going to take off this old boot and we're going to reuse it on the new one. Here's our new one. So we'll slide that boot onto place like so. And then we know it goes on just like that. The boot goes into here. So we could go ahead and hook our fuel lines back up. So it goes in like this. And then this fuel line that we just took off is going to go into this line. Just like that. And you want to pull these up. You want to get the lines up as far as you could get them. And then we're going to take our other fuel line. And we could actually put the carburetor in. And what I recommend is if you don't want to reuse this gasket, if this gasket is damaged, Hypa does send one with the kit. You could use that one. This one looks like it's in great shape though. All my lines look good, so I'm not going to remove the priming bulb. But if you were going to, you know, just take everything off the same way you would put it back on. So you could just take this priming bulb out by, I'll show you how to get the priming bulb off. You pretty much would take a flathead and in here where the priming bulb is, there's a tab that you would just press and then you could remove the priming bulb. And I'll show you what it looks like on the new one. So these are the tabs right here. So they go in and then you would stick your screwdriver in where I just showed you and just press one of these tabs in, just kind of pry it up against, and this bulb will come right out. And then that'll give you access to change out those lines. But all this is in good shape, so I'm not going to touch any of that. So we're just going to put the carburetor back together. We're just going to slide into. Okay, there's our carburetor. Then we have one more fuel line right here to hook up. So we could go ahead and hook that up. Again, you want to get these in as much as you can. Okay, and then we could hook our throttle linkage back up. Okay, and then to get our linkage in, we're going to, let's see if I can do this while I'm holding it with the camera behind me. So it's going to go into this hole right here. Okay, so you can see how that's installed. Hopefully you can see that well. Okay, and then we could go ahead and get everything back into place. We have all of our lines hooked up. And we could just feed our bolts back through our housing. And just make sure, just press all this up against this block and just make sure your throttle cable is going to work, and you can see that's all operating freely. And then we could go ahead and reinstall our choke, which is just going to slide right into this hole right here. So it goes in just like this. So we would put it in this way, like that. And just kind of force it in, and then it just kind of slides over and goes under. So you can see we have all that together. Choke works, on off works. Yep, all that works. Now we could go ahead and put our nuts back on. And I like to do the hard stuff first, which is why I changed the carburetor first. That's the most difficult part of this repair. And then the tune-up is rather simple. So we'll end it with something on the easier side. And that's the, the air filter. That's just putting it in to what we already have here. The spark plug. Hardest part of the spark plug could just be removing the cap sometimes. They don't want to come off. And then the fuel filter. The hardest part of that is just grabbing it. It's just reaching in there with a hook and getting it. Sometimes it's very easy though. Okay, so we have our 2 nuts on. Now we're just going to put in our T25 bolt. Okay. Okay. So then we could just put our filter back in. Put our cover back on. Okay. And now I'll show you how to remove sometimes these caps pull right off. That one did. We got lucky. Sometimes you really got to force it or use a pair of pliers or something. But then we're going to take our 3/4 inch deep socket. And we're just going to break this free. And once it's broken free, you could just hand loosen it. You can see our spark plug's not in bad shape, but Hypa is going to send you a new spark plug so you can put the new plug in. And you just want to make sure, the most important part with the plug is make sure you're not cross-threading it into the head, because then you have a whole different set of problems. So if it's not turning in smoothly, back it out gently, put it back in. And then we'll just tighten it back down, rotating it clockwise. Okay, and then we could put the cap back on. Okay, cap's on. Now we will change out the fuel filter. So like I said, you want to dump all the fuel out of this before you start this repair. And then you just go ahead. This is just a little flexible stop that goes in there. So take the cap right out. And then what you're going to want to do is just grab a coat hanger, some sort of rigid piece of wire to kind of reach in here. And I could actually see this perfect right here. So I could just reach in with my finger. But if you can't, then you're going to want to get something to hook onto it and pull it out. So here's our fuel filter. And this you could either just pull off or you could pry off with a little mini screwdriver. Like so. Put your new fuel filter back on. And you just want to make sure that that's seated flush right up against this bottom part right here. So you could see we're seated flush. And then you could just drop that back in there. Put your fresh fuel in. Oh, and for fuel, so these Poulans take a 40-to-1 fuel mix. Now you could mix that yourself, or you could pick up a can of this True Fuel. This is what I highly recommend. I'll also put a link on where you could pick up this. So, like I said, 40-to-1 for Poulan. It even says right on here, Poulan machines. So we're just gonna dump some fresh fuel into it. Or like I said, you can mix it yourself, whatever you wanna do. Okay, so we have our fresh fuel in. And what I recommend is just when you're emptying it at the start of this project, empty it into an oil pan or in an oil catch pan, and then just dispose of it properly. Okay, so you can see our throttle works, air filter's hooked up, carburetor's hooked up. We have our new fuel filter, we have our new spark plug, we have our new air filter behind that housing. So all we have to do now is just put it back together. Then we could go ahead and put our pull start back on. This cover really doesn't like to stay on. Okay, and then we're going to use our 4 bolts. 1, 2, then 3 down here. And then the last one is going to be right here. Okay, and we'll take our T25, tighten the cover down. I like to kind of tighten them down a little bit at a time. Okay, and just tighten down the rest of the way. Tighten this one the rest of the way. And then just give this one a couple more torques. Okay, so now we have our pull start cover back on. Now we could go ahead and put this housing back on. That just slides underneath here into place. And you just want to make sure it's sitting flush up against everything. It doesn't look, you know, like it's sitting up, caught on anything. And then we'll just go ahead, tighten these 3 screws here. One there, one right in here. And then the last one right here. Move this so you can see right here. Okay, and then we'll just go through the starting sequence real quick for you guys. So to start this, you're going to press this priming bulb in here about 6 times. You're going to pull this out all the way. Then you're going to pull your cord 5 or 6 times, and it should like start lightly or want to start. And then you're going to go ahead and move this in halfway. And then you're going to pull it like about 5 more times. And then it should start for you. You let it kind of warm up in that setting. And then once it's warm, you could go ahead and put the choke all the way in. And then you have your trigger here. And when you want the engine to stop, when you're done using it, you just push this down and that'll stop the engine. So yeah, guys, let me know if you have any questions on this. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Also be sure to check the links on where you can get this carburetor and tune-up kit from Hypa. Just be sure to check out their website too. They have a bunch of parts for small engines for, you know, chainsaws, weed whackers, lawn mowers, snow leaf blowers. So just be sure to check out their website, but I'll make sure to put the links to make it easy on you guys. So you'll get links for that. You'll get links on where you can pick up this True Fuel 40-to-1 mix. And then also where you can get all these tools, the 3/4 inch sockets, you know, your the 1/4 inch drive, ratchet, and then this adjustable little socket, and then all your screwdrivers that you're going to use. So just be sure to check those links. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And yeah, be sure to subscribe to the channel if this video helped you out. And be sure to like it if it helped you out. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.